Hi everybody, welcome to Mark's 900. I'm Mark. Now, that flash of lightning that's just gone past me there is my old mate Adam, aka Sweet Triple, who unsurprisingly is on his lovely Triumph Street Triple. So Adam and I, we're going to swap bikes today. I think though we've just kind of got ourselves into a bit of a groove and we're going to stay on our own bikes and head off down into the Forest of Dean. Now the Forest of Dean is about 110 square kilometres of forest, which is in Gloucestershire, and in the middle of there's a little village called Colford, and in Colford there's a rather interesting place. So it's a double-decker bus in the middle of this forest, right? Double-decker bus painted yellow, and it's got an effigy of Del Boy sitting in the driver's seat, and the place is called, wait for it, Only Food and Sauces. So we're going to head down there for a bite to eat and a brew, and then see where the road takes us after that. So I normally like to push out a video probably once every 2 weeks just to keep it nice and regular. This last 2 weeks has been really difficult. We've had cold weather, hot weather. It's the end of financial year, so work has just gone absolutely mental. All that sort of stuff, all the excuses in the world. But the long and short of it is, I haven't done an awful lot of bike stuff apart from ride to work. So what I'm going to do is run you through a few exciting things that I've got coming up very soon on the channel. And then next week we'll get back to our usual high quality of content. The first thing I want to talk about is the video I did a couple of weeks ago on the SV650. Now, the reason I do YouTube, it's a bit of a laugh and I'm just building up my presentation skills, which is really good and useful for work and things like that. So I did the presentation on the SV650. Now, I've noticed on YouTube that if you look up a bike, nobody's going to come up and say, yeah, I've reviewed this bike and it's not very good. It just doesn't happen. So I thought, well, what does happen if you say that you don't like a bike? And I did that review, and it was quite a negative review. I mean, I did say that the bike was absolutely fine, there's nothing wrong with it, but there were a series of things that I personally didn't like. Now, it didn't go down too well, if I'm honest with you, and I had quite a bit of feedback that sort of went, well, Mark, you're missing the point, Mark, these bikes aren't slow, people race them, all this sort of stuff. And I thought, well, I've only had about 400 views, and I've had quite a lot of bad feedback on it. And then I had one or two people that really got quite sort of irate, and as nice as I tried to be to them, they just started to get more and more aggressive. And I thought, well, do you know what? I deal with people like this all day. I can't be doing with this as a hobby as well. So what I did was I ended up just taking the video down. I thought, well, if it's upset that many people, let's get rid of it. So that video has disappeared now. So if you're looking for the video that I did on the SV650, it is no longer there. And lesson learned there, so never go on YouTube and say you don't like something. You can say, I really like this, but there are a few things I would change, and that's quite acceptable, but yeah, just don't say you don't like something. So there's that. What we've got coming up in the future then, in the next couple of weeks, I'm doing an experiment at the moment with petrol. So what I've done is, I've gone to Tesco and I've run a few tankfuls of the more expensive petrol at Tesco. I mean, it's all expensive at the moment, but I've done the sort of premium grade fuel to see how many miles per gallon I get, what it costs me to do 100 miles, that sort of thing. And then I'm going to repeat the experiment with tankfuls of the cheaper petrol, not cheap, but cheaper petrol, and see if there's a difference, to see if it's worthwhile buying the expensive stuff. Then I'm going to try it from a non-supermarket garage like Shell, and I might try some other things as well, like pump my tyres up a bit more, or take my baffles out my exhaust or something. So that's just a whole experiment. Of course, this is going to take a few weeks for me to run through all this petrol. I'm trying to keep it good and consistent and as scientific as possible, but it is just going to be me and seeing how it goes. So that's going to be, I've got no idea what the results of that are going to be. I'm quite looking forward to that myself. The other thing I need to do at the moment is a really good deep clean on the bike. I've ridden my bike all winter. We've had loads of salt on the road. It's been absolutely terrible for salt and not actually that much ice. But a lot of wet, so all the salt and stuff has been flicked into the bike. It's probably in all sorts of crevices and things. So what I'm going to do is strip down the bike as far as I can, back wheel off, mud guard off, chain guard off, all that sort of stuff. Get it all cleaned out, get rid of all the crap from winter, and get it ready to ride for the summer. And that's going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks, or just as soon as I get a day to do it. What else we got coming up in the next couple of weeks? We've got a trip going down to Plymouth. So we're in Gloucester at the moment. There's going to be 5 or 6 of us. We're going to ride from Gloucester across the top of Cornwall, then drop down through Dartmoor and down into Plymouth. Then we're going to have a day of riding around there, and then the next day we're going to come back. So a 3-day little trip to Plymouth. That's going to be brilliant. And also got myself a new set of motorbike boots to go on that, so I don't have to take extra shoes with me. But we'll talk more about that actually on that video. So a bunch of good stuff coming up in the next few weeks. Then later on in the summer we're going to get up to some 2-stroke shenanigans, because my mate Dave, who's an engineer, has been finely tuning an AP50, an old Suzuki 1970s moped, and he's got this thing going like a rocket. So I'm going to try and do a piece on that. So that'll be fun. And also, in the back of my head, I've got this other thing going on, which is that at the end of this year, I will have had my Z900 for 2 years, and I think at that point it's time to trade it in. Now, it's a bit awkward because my name's Mark's 900, so really I ought to buy a Z900. But I don't want to buy something the same. So I've been looking around already. My head's in the space of, well, what shall I get next? And I'm really, really keen on the Ducati Supersport 950S. That's a beautiful looking bike. I've sat on one, it's really comfortable, and I need to get one of those out for a test ride. The other one I'm looking at the moment is the Ninja 1000 SX. That ticks every box. Power, comfort, all that sort of stuff. I mean, it's just got it all, and it's been there for years. It is the sports tourer, right? It sets the standard. I guess the problem with it for me is the fact that, quite rightly, there's a lot of them around, and they're all very samey. You see, one of the reasons I really like my Z900 is the fact that you don't see that many of them around, despite the fact that it's a Kawasaki. And also, I've made modifications to it that set it aside from even the ones that are out there. I'm not sure if I could get the same feeling from a Ninja 1000 SX, although, as I've said, it is an absolutely fantastic bike and ticks pretty much every box on paper. So I'm just going to have to get out there and start test riding a few of these bikes. And when I do, I'll be sure to post the results on this channel. As I said though, this is really just embryonic thought at the moment, and I haven't really considered all the different makes and models of bikes. So if you've got any suggestions, what would you buy after a Z900? What's the next bike to get? What's the next step up? I'm really interested to hear what any of you guys would think would be a good next bike. Anyway, I hope you've been enjoying this video of Adam and I bashing through the Forest of Dean. We're just about at our location now, so we're going to see the big yellow bus, and there it is in all its glory. Now the problem is, it's a Sunday and actually it's closed. So that's a bit of a disaster, but not to worry because we're in the Forest of Dean and there's loads of places we can go and grab a burger and a brew, and then, well, as I say, we'll see where the road takes us after that. Anyway, summer's nearly here, so get yourselves out there, but please be careful when you do, especially if you haven't been riding all winter. And remember, wherever you go, make sure those chains are oiled. Okay, I'll see you all soon.